This is Aubrey from the So Wizard podcast, and you're listening to the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network.
Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people.
Right.
You want people to care. You want to strike emotions. And I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one
quarter
too.
pounder with cheese and France. What? Boy, ale with cheese. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice up my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success? Hey everyone, you're listening to Superhero Speak, and I'm your host Dave.
And John.
And JD.
And, wow, we're approaching 0 hour for the big show, and, John and I are excited.
I've packed extra Ritalin. I'll be ready.
Poor JD is in Chicago.
I've been there before.
Oh, okay, good.
To Chicago? I would hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, really, when were you at the New York Comic Con?
2014. I went from 2011 to 2014.
Ah, dude, there are so many more people now.
That's what I hear. It was pretty packed last year I went. I was looking for work, and now that's not necessary. So,
short of New Year's Eve celebrations, it is the only place I have ever been in an actual people jam.
Well, they also have authors every year at the show, so maybe
I ain't paying for that stuff. You know how much it costs for an author's table?
Yeah.
Whew.
No, you're going to become so famous they're going to make you a featured guest.
Amazon authors don't get that famous.
Yeah.
I'd be very happy just paying some bills. Maybe Chicago next year.
Maybe.
Try to sell some books.
Well, okay. Well, on that. JD, how was your week? Anything special?
No, kind of slow.
No books came out this week?
No, slow week. Just finished one. I was hoping to have it out October 8th. Probably going to head up the next week instead.
Okay.
Real life gets in the way sometimes.
Yes.
That happens? There's a real life?
3-year-old gets in the way sometimes. We'll leave it at that.
Yes. Yeah, and I saw the video using him to show your book.
He just did that. He freewheeled it, so I had to film
it. I like when he looked at your picture on the back. Is that you?
Why are you on a building? I was in Istanbul, actually, when that picture was taken.
Istanbul?
I shot a documentary out there in 2011. It's a cool place to visit.
Cool.
It was.
Maybe one day we'll host a show from there.
I don't think so. I don't know if it's as cool anymore.
Kind of like Wizard World.
Kind of. How about you, John? Anything in your real life?
No. Nothing I want to share.
No?
Nope. Nope. Just lots of nope.
Anything you don't want to share?
Yes, quite a bit actually. Thank you.
How's your book?
It's going. I had some trouble writing, but I think it's because I'm doing, pre-prep for New York. And, I'm cleaning the house, getting stuff ready for the cat sitter, trying to clean. Basically, my biggest problem is cleaning up stuff at work so that they don't need me for 5 days.
Mm.
And that's my biggest problem because I manage people and projects. And
yeah.
I don't like people or projects.
And, well, the nice thing is every time I leave, when I come back, they're like, John, don't ever leave again.
It's better than get the hell out and don't come back.
Yeah, true.
Well,
things ran so much more smoothly with you gone.
I don't know. That kind of sounds like you don't have competent people on your team who can handle it while you're away.
Well, no, actually, I'm in charge of 3 newbies. They're engineer 1s, but they're good. They're just, our team got decimated a year ago not the actual literal decimated, but the colloquial decimated.
Uh-huh.
And so basically, it's me and a bunch of new people and one or two old timers. But I'm the one who knows our framework the best.
So you're saying it's not every 10th one of you were murdered?
No. Like I said, the colloquial version that is commonly accepted, not the literal version, which people just don't seem to get is what they should mean.
So speaking of work, Dave, do you know what you do yet?
Kinda. I've got work to do. I got things to do. I'm working. I'm getting paid. It's all that matters.
That is all that matters.
I know of this.
But yeah, no. This week, man, it's the start of the new TV season, so I had all that to take care of. I only watched the first half of it because something came up. But I started watching the new show Evil, which is
Luke Cage's.
Yeah, Luke Cage, Mike Coulter, and it's actually pretty interesting. It's pretty good. It's not exactly what I expected. It's definitely got a supernatural element to it, and I think people should check it out. It's weird to see him play he's not a priest, but he's someone studying to become a priest, and
a man in seminary.
It's supposed to leave you wondering whether or not the person is actually possessed or not.
Yes. Like that's the whole thing. Like they do things where you're like, oh my God, it's a possession. And then all of a sudden they show you well, no, here's what really, here's behind the curtain, kind of thing. And, like I said, I only got halfway through the episode and, something came up. I didn't get to finish watching it. And, in fact, I'm going to probably finish watching it when I get off here, but yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting. Like, it's not clear one way or the other what's really going on. So, which I like, it's why I liked the X-Files when it first came on.
Do you have to have the CBS app to watch it?
Or you could watch it on CBS when it comes.
Man, I don't watch real TV. Come on, man.
And you don't have a DVR?
No. We got rid of that 5 years ago.
Then how do you record television?
I don't. I stream everything.
Oh, you're weird. I would imagine. I would imagine if you have the CBS app, you can stream it.
No, we don't have the CBS app. The foot is down on that one. They're asking too damn much. And now NBC thinks they're going to get one too. Screw you guys.
Yeah, well, we keep talking about this. They're just they're gonna go the way of DC, which is we put this out, everybody's gonna pay this much money, we're gonna be rolling it, and oh wait, our subscribers are down already.
See, they recalled where they did make a good move is they recalled Friends.
Yeah,
right.
So they might have something, but at the same time, like you're asked, I think this is it. I think this is where it all falls apart.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can't expect people to pay for each individual channel and a streaming service without, it just doesn't make sense, like Netflix makes sense because it's one hub that can have popular shows from all networks, but trying to take away from Netflix and be like, oh no, NBC owns that, so NBC is going to have its own streaming service, and now it's CBS owns it, so nah.
Foot's down, not doing it, I'm done. Disney Plus is it.
The smart ones would just renegotiate with Netflix or something,
Hulu.
Or Hulu, yeah, because it's just they're going to waste so much money trying this stupidity that we know it's not going to work. Everybody knows it's not going to work.
Suits don't.
I actually heard someone point this out the other day. By the time all these streaming services come out and you would pay for all of them, it would be cheaper just to have cable again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm running into. Because, I'm the one who's got Rooster Teeth and Hulu and Crunchyroll and DC and gods, I can't remember all of them at this point.
Every time you say Rooster Teeth, I keep thinking, man, that's gotta hurt.
What?
Speaking of new series, there's one called Emergence, which I actually kind of like. Well, only one episode in so far, but
yeah, I have not seen that yet.
It's pretty good. There's a plane crash on a beach, and the local sheriff goes down to see what's going on, and the NTSB is already cleaning it up, and she finds a little girl. I don't know. It's up in the air what the little girl actually is. And I said what, not who.
Yeah.
What's the show?
Emergence. The acting is pretty good. So, and it's got a good hook, so we'll see how it goes.
Remember when everybody thought Lost was going to be like the best show ever, and then it had no plan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you trying to make John nervous?
No.
Okay.
I'm already nervous. Do you know how many shows like this, will go one season and then they'll get canceled before they really get going?
Most.
There was one I remember called Surface, which was getting really interesting at the end of the first season, and then it got canceled. And, the last one of that season was like half the earth got covered with the ocean. I mean, it was neat.
So speaking of shows that'll probably get canceled quickly, and it's actually a decent show, Perfect Harmony. I can't remember what channel that's on. It might be CBS.
Is it sci-fi?
No, it's not sci-fi. It's
Well, I don't care then.
It's like Glee, but it's schmaltzy with feelings. And instead of being a school, it's like it's a choir at a church.
Doesn't that have one of the cast of Pitch Perfect in it?
Yes, I believe so. And
who was not Brittany Snow? No. Who is it? No, Anna Camp, right?
Yes, that's who it is. Yeah, she's like the main girl, and it's funny because it's like it's a decent little show, and it's like it's one of those like it's got some comedy and it tugs at the heartstrings, and it's like, oh, this is a fun little show. It's not going to last. People don't want that anymore.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. You know what people really want?
Us to get back on track?
They want the social media madness.
Okay, less so.
We don't have a track.
No, we don't.
That's the fun of social media madness.
we careen left and right like a bunch of drunken nerds.
Speaking of drunken nerds, we had talked about Joaquin Phoenix and him getting upset about being asked about the violence in the Joker movie, and he walked out.
Yeah.
Or the violin fee, according to the email.
I can understand where he was coming from, though.
So we had a few people who talked about this on social media. Of course, House of D said, the Joker is the greatest villain in comic book history. He is the only comic villain who has inspired real-world violence, and an actor went crazy after playing the role. Rest in peace, Heath Ledger. Hold on. Let me finish. With that said, it's an unfair question, and I'm glad he walked out.
Yeah, but still, what real world violence has he ever? Like, he's the Joker. He's been around. Give me facts.
Colorado on him.
The guy who shot up the movie theater with his hair dyed orange. Was that the Joker? Yes.
Yeah, but was that? I mean, that's not inspired. That's more like he fixated on. You know.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think he was, I think he was just a crazy person because he wasn't like he was wearing clown makeup and stuff. And I got to agree with House of D. This thing about Heath Ledger going crazy is just apocryphal Hollywood history. My brother and 5 of my friends worked on the set of Dark Knight. Christian Bale is the one whose trailer said Bruce Wayne. Christian Bale was the one who was the method actor. Heath Ledger in between takes would be skateboarding and messing around. Like, that's not, like, I know this because, like, my friends were there. Like, it's not true. That's just Hollywood legend. Like, he had other issues. He had other dependency issues. It had nothing to do with the Joker. Like, that's not real.
And like, after he died and, Jack Nicholson came out and was like, I warned him that this role would consume him. It's like, you're just feeding the beast,
right.
Comments like that.
He's working like a pro wrestler, just telling stories. And let's be honest, it's not like Jack Nicholson was like not being anything other than Jack Nicholson playing the Joker.
Right. I'm glad you're setting the record straight. The 5 people who listen to this podcast now know the truth.
All right, Don.
What did Randy Random Savage from Cult 45 said? It's like you guys said. He's got a guy that is telling people to go and shoot people. Wait. He's not the guy who's going to tell people to shoot people. He's just a dude who is playing a violent comic character. He is an actor. His job is to play pretend for money.
All true.
Shane Beauregard. No, with the media today, I'm sure he is tired addressing the subject matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's Joaquin. He does weird stuff anyway. So, I mean, yeah.
And Volsker, the question around violence and the movie is uncalled for. The character is known for violence and chaos. People need to stop getting butthurt.
As much as I detest that term, he is correct.
Why do you detest? Never mind.
Because butthurt sounds stupid and it's immature, and the second anyone brings, stop being butthurt, it immediately makes him sound like an idiot.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Plus, it's been used in a lot of other theaters of verbal war at this point. It's everything JD said.
Theaters of verbal war. Well done, sir. I like that.
Theaters of verbal war. Okay.
Ooh, episode title.
Oh, good grief.
So, okay. So we also had talked about, Bob Iger came out and admitted Disney may have rushed the Star Wars films.
No.
And,
wow, breaking news, everyone.
John Taloni said, the market could have borne that many Star Wars films. Just look at the Marvel movies for how it's done. Rogue One, well received. It was bad writing and caused the problem. The nostalgia of The Force Awakens is fine in context, but having Luke betray everything he believed in, terrible idea.
But Rogue One was one of the better movies. It was probably one of the best.
Actually, it's a good Act 3. Act 1 and Act 2 I really don't think are that good. But I think he's referring not to Rogue One. I think he's referring to everything else. And I've said it before and I will say it again. I completely disagree with this assessment that Luke Skywalker would be the same man at 60 that he was at 20.
Yeah.
Because who is?
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. I mean...
Nerds! In a panties in a bunch. That's who think that.
But still, they screwed it up. And they say it could have been done. It just was bad writing. No, they rushed it. I mean, Marvel took their time and built it up.
But Marvel's different, though. Star Wars is the story of one family, one dude specifically.
Yeah, that's true, too.
And Marvel's an entire universe. It's not... I think they're apples and oranges, and we can hit this harder later in the podcast, but I think that's false equivalency.
Well, technically Star Wars is an entire universe. The problem is that the writers, they never broke out of their little box. They always made it seem like, yes, the Star Wars, it happens in all these different galaxies. There's only 3 people in all these galaxies that are really important.
But that's all. But that's movie making. You don't focus on universes. You focus on people. You focus on the individual and tell a story. That's what people care about. A story is the definition of a story is character A has a goal. He's trying to achieve said goal. Character B, or whatever character B may represent, is trying to stop him from attaining said goal. That's a story.
True.
It's not about the universe. And that is the lesson of Marvel, is that they're always stories about people.
Well, yeah, but the thing is that in the Marvel movies, you feel like there's a greater universe. Even if you're watching Captain America, you'll get glimpses of other heroes, other people, other luminaries in that universe. Whereas Star Wars, they never made it feel big. I mean, the original 3 movies were pretty good at that, but they had such a chance with the later movies, and they never did. You need to keep it live, and if the characters keep doing the same thing over and over again, Death Star, then what is the story except a time loop? But
that's the thing, though.
It gets boring.
Because it's not about the universe. It's about the characters, and I don't think anybody. And then a lot of people complain about the fact that a bunch of, octogenarians aren't allowed to do a whole lot in these movies. Because those are the ones we care about. Those are our emotional tethers. Rogue One was kind of cool, but I mean, it's not like those characters have, permeated culture the way Star Wars did. Or even the way, I won't call it the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, had the same thing. That's lightning in a bottle. and that was designed to be a story. The Marvel Universe was created to be a cinematic universe with a launch pin of Iron Man. Star Wars is just a story.
True, but those characters live in the universe, and they should be interacting with it, and it never feels like they do. They just keep on interacting with each other, and the rest of the universe doesn't make any difference. You could put them on Earth, and it would be the same story.
It doesn't make any difference. That's the point.
But it's the same story over and over again. That's the problem. They never made it feel bigger. They never branched out. They never let them interact with anything other than themselves. In so doing, they hamstrung their storytelling ability.
All right, here's what the real problem is. After episodes 4, 5, and 6, they really should have never made any more movies.
Yes, correct. We didn't need them. Like the 1 through 3, there wasn't enough backbone. There wasn't enough meat on the bones of those stories. It could have been good, but I mean, like, it really suffers from plot over character. And Luke, I remember there was a poster before episode 1 came out that said plot matters. And it does, but plot isn't as important as character. And those first movies, through use of the actors, had character. You know, because there aren't really a whole lot of character. The dialogue of the original Star Wars movie isn't great. Like, the actors' choices really make those characters. So, where by the time the prequel trilogy comes around, Lucas is such a dominating force. No one's making choices as actors. You're reading his words.
Right. And that's the whole thing. Like, if you have ice cream once a year as a special, you love ice cream, but you only eat it once a year, it makes it special, right? Like, and you really enjoy it. If you have ice cream at every meal, every day, your whole life, you're going to get sick of it after a while.
Yeah, but if you have that ice cream as a sundae, and then on a cone, and then in a waffle cone, and then I mean, if it's all different, it doesn't get as boring.
It's if you get vanilla ice cream, Dave's right. What you're talking about is you want to go to 31 flavors and try all the different flavors of ice cream, but you're still in the same store, right? Star Wars was never supposed to be a store; it was supposed to be a flavor. And now they're trying to build it around the flavor. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to build an entire store around one flavor. It doesn't work.
Who's to say what it was supposed to be, right? I mean, yeah, you're right. The original three, well, actually, the original movie itself was supposed to be the only movie, and then it did so well that they made the next two. But, after that, it had such promise. There is so much they could have done with it. You know, the whole point is seeing these characters that you care about deal with other issues, deal with new situations, not the same situation over and over and over again.
But you don't really get that in film. Like, we did get 3 different stories in the original trilogy, but you're right, we didn't get to expand upon that because it's film, it's not television. And back then, television wasn't done like that, which is kind of what the extended universe did, is it really kind of pick up on that. Like both the Marvel and the Dark Horse, I'm talking about the old school Marvel, and the Dark Horse comics really try to build upon that. And quite frankly, the vast majority of the movie-going audience wants stories about Luke, Leia, and Han. Like, Rogue One was cool, but you cannot compare its box office to any of the canonical Star Wars movies. It's
true, but give me Luke, Leia, and Han dealing with something else other than another freaking Death Star.
Well, the problem is Luke, Leia, and Han are senior citizens, and one's not even with us anymore. So I mean, like, the window is past for that, and people are mad because, like, we can't pause time and tell the same movie. Like, I think there's like, Dave, tell me if I'm crazy on this. Some people were mad that Force Awakens was just a retread, and then some people are mad that Last Jedi was completely different. You know, and I don't think these are the same people.
Yeah, you're not crazy with that. I honestly think that's the problem. You know, the people who, not only were they upset that it was a retread, right, but there were people who enjoyed it. And then what it was is people who enjoyed it expected the story to go a particular direction, and it didn't. It tried to do its own thing, and people got mad at that. You know, it's like, oh, well, we don't know who Snook was, and he got killed, and blah, blah. And it's like, who cares? That's not important. You know, wanting all those little details was never important before. Now all of a sudden people pretend like they care about them.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, I mean, I just think, like, I think all this stuff that was thrown on top of those original 3 movies has taken away from them being special. You know?
I think you're right. Those are some of my favorite movies, but I haven't watched them in years. Because I feel kind of and I love Star Wars, but I feel kind of Star Warsed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. And then lastly, guys, we have a job to do. So Randy from Colt 45 would like us to start
Completely read that wrong.
What?
I completely read that wrong in the email. I thought you meant like the dead man rock, Macho Man Randy Savage. I was like, what?
Yeah.
He would like us to start a rumor that Lucy Lawless will be the Wonder Woman in the Legends of Tomorrow for the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover.
I find it great that he actually tagged the Legends of Tomorrow Brazil Twitter page.
Well, if you're going to start a rumor.
Yes, exactly. Start in Brazil.
Do it in Portuguese.
I know a little Portuguese.
If they have it translated, it gives it more heft.
So guys, did you hear? Lucy Lawless is going to be playing Wonder Woman.
I did not know that.
10 years ago. 10 years ago, I'd have been way on board with that.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Well, yeah, she is. How old is she now?
She's deep. She's in her 50s. Like, she looks great. Like, incredible for a woman in her 50s, but she's in her 50s.
Make her Kingdom Come Wonder Woman.
I'm down. Sold.
There you go.
All right, there you go. There you go. Kingdom Come Wonder Woman. She'll star opposite Brandon Routh as Kingdom Come Superman. Perfect.
Which is, I brushed up on that. That is a really dark story.
Oh, it's one of my favorites. I love that book.
Yeah, I have to watch All Star Superman just to wash the taste out of my mouth for that one.
And of course, Randy is part of Colt 45, which is one of the other podcasts in. Oh my God, you guys! You're not going to
World All Stars.
The Geek World All Stars Podcast Network. So yes, that also includes So Wizard, my God, Pop Prison Power Podcast, Fans on Patrol, Gorilla Brain Podcast, and Colt 45. So you guys should check out those other great podcasts. And actually, we'll be hanging out with the guys from So Wizard in New York, so that'll be fun. And Randy.
Cool.
So.
If you want our help with this read, you have to put it in the show notes, or else we don't think about it.
Oh, this is true. I got to do that. All right, guys. Well, on that note, I think we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
And we're back. Woohoo! Commercials are over.
Yay!
Yay! So what do we got in the news this week? So this first story, I don't know how I feel about it. I think it's not a good thing. So JC Lee.
Explain it, because I'm not sure how this works.
So JC Lee, son of Stan Lee, daughter of Stan Lee.
So you were in a different Marvel universe there for a second.
Is suing his former company, PAL Entertainment, for the rights back to all of his intellectual property that he created. One of the other interesting things in the footnotes of the lawsuit, apparently they mentioned Marvel a couple times, but as far as we know, this lawsuit doesn't involve Marvel right now. Now, from my understanding, there was a lawsuit a few years ago that was going on, and then all of a sudden, the people from PAL sat down with Stan and they ironed everything out, and the lawsuit was dropped. And now he's gone, his daughter has brought the lawsuit back up. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, there's a lot of rumors that she wasn't so great to her father towards the end. I don't know how true those are.
Yeah. Seems like you read about JC Lee and she seems suspect.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know much about PAL. Like, what is she looking for? What IP did Stan Lee create between 01 and 17?
Hero Man? With that Japanese anime?
I mean, there's a few things. But
there's very few things.
She ain't fighting over Spider-Man.
Right.
She ain't fighting over Hero Man either. No one is.
I mean, I don't know. This seems like a superfluous lawsuit to me.
Well, there's got to be something that she's after.
No, I'm sure you're right, but I mean, like, I just don't know what.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good question. Now, what I do know is, and we've kind of talked about this already before. There were projects that he was working on before he died that are now starting to come out here and there. And is that what it is? She's looking for any of the money that was going to be made off of those projects. There's that one webcomic that's out with that he helped create, and there's actually a book. I'm strange little plug time. There's a book coming out called A Trick of Light. It was an idea that was created by Stan, and he had started writing it. It was finished up by Kat Rosenfeld, and we will actually be interviewing Kat at New York Comic Con about the book. So
we can ask her what's special about it.
No.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like we're missing like maybe some huge part here, and until somebody uncovers something, we won't know the real reason why she's going after this.
And the thing with like, because there's rumors too that, again, these are rumors that she also wants to go after Marvel, but you can't, because everything would be work for hire that he did while he was at Marvel.
Mm-hmm. If the king don't get it, he don't get it. If the king's family don't get nothing, his family don't get nothing.
Okay.
Well, it's like the Jack Kirby thing, like his family tried to fight for stuff too. That's what I meant by the king. Like these are work for hire things, and like it's ironic if they try to fight for it because Stan was the one who pushed a lot of this work for hire stuff onto creators. So bitter irony would raise its head.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's weird. Like, I kind of feel like stuff like this when it comes out, it just puts a dark mark on the man's legacy. It's like, just let him rest, I don't know if anyone sympathizes with her on this lawsuit.
I don't think so. I don't think anyone sympathizes with him or with the company actually, because I'm trying not to mix Pow and the Stan Lee media up in my head. The real scumbaggy company. It seems like the people around Stan allowed him to make far too many bad deals toward the end of his life.
Yes. No, that is true. And I think, I'm sure he wasn't completely with it towards the end. So that's another thing. Like, was he easily manipulated into taking these deals? And,
it's, there's not much more we can say. It's just, guess what? We'll find out if anything happens and it makes the news. We'll find out.
Yeah, this is true. We'll keep an eye on this one, I think. Speaking of news and Marvel and big stories, apparently Sony and Marvel kissed and made up, and we're going to get one more standalone Spider-Man movie that is co-produced with Marvel, and the other thing is one more cameo from Spider-Man. So, and that's the thing. That's the only details that were released about this deal at this point. So
that's fine. Yeah, I'm good. I think we're all happy. We can stop having that same conversation that John and I have had on the last 6 shows.
Now, I have more to say about that.
Yes, we don't need to worry about it because now they'll all the MCU references can stay in the next movie.
All I'll say is they probably saw the Screen Rant pitch meeting skit and decided, you know what, it's going to be too hard. Let's do one more.
Yeah,
I think this is just negotiations in public.
Oh yeah, true.
I'm sure there's some of that in there, at least.
I find it fascinating that the CEO of Sony came out was like, "Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. The door's shut and blah blah," and then all of a sudden, like, "Oh no, look, we got a new deal."
Dave, are you trying to tell me that the CEO of a major company lied?
Yes.
I refuse to believe that.
Oh, really?
No, not really at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of...
This is my
sarcasm. Yeah, this is sarcasm, Dave. Remember, we told you about that.
Oh, jeez. I didn't know such a thing existed. And then...
That's why we keep using it around you.
And then we have a rumor related to that we'll get to later on. All right. And then, related, to Spider-Man and Sony and the movies, they have launched a dailybugle.net website, which has another clip of J.K. Simmons portraying J. Jonah Jameson. Did you guys have a chance to take a look at the site?
I did. This is hysterical. It's such a takeoff of what's his name from,
Alex Jones.
Yeah, Alex Jones. It is just.
This is like Dadaism art.
Yeah.
Like,
nice
it's
one.
beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it. I love everything about it. And I'm surprised that the comics never got on something like this earlier, because they did have the Daily Bugle up and running similar to this.
Yeah.
For a while. Like, I'm a little disappointed in Marvel's comic division for not beating them to the punch, but I'm happy it's here.
No, I'm surprised, like, they could actually use the site to promote new Marvel movies as they come out.
It's genius! It's absolutely genius.
Oh, definitely. I'm just kind of curious, like, are they going to continually update this before, while the movie's being worked on, or is it going to become static and stupid after a while? I hope they keep posting videos at least.
I agree.
Because J.K. Simmons just has to sit in front of a green screen and rant for a little bit, and then there you go.
He ain't mad. He's collecting a paycheck every time he does that.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't done so, definitely go check it out. It is thedailybugle.net, and there's some fun stuff on there. All right, guys. So we had talked about Star Wars. We talked about Marvel. We all know that the head of the Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, some consider a genius. And we had somebody say, oh, well, the Marvel movies did so well. Well, he's working on a Star Wars movie, guys.
This is cool.
Is there anybody else, like, are there any other directors anymore? I mean,
well, he's not a director. He's just going to do the Kathleen Kennedy thing and kind of shepherd. Is it a Star Wars movie or is it multiple Star Wars movies?
Right now they're just saying a Star Wars project, and it's a movie. But that was the other interesting thing. Like Chris Evans and a couple of the other stars have all like tweeted and said, "Oh, we would love to be involved with his Star Wars movie." And it's like, and people were complaining online, and I kind of get that too. Like, no, don't mix my Marvel and Star Wars. Like so that might take you out of a Star Wars movie if all of a sudden Captain America shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
maybe they'll reboot it and bring Harley Quinn back too.
What?
Maybe they'll reboot Star Wars with some of the same actors, but a different universe. I'd like to see it where they reboot this Star Wars with a new timeline and they find Spock.
Okay. So wait, we can mix Star Wars, Star Trek, and Marvel all together?
Speaking of lawsuits,
didn't what's his name? On Agents of well, he wasn't. He guessed it on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Colson?
No, the little comedian, Patton Oswalt. The filibuster scene when he talked about his like ultimate movie, and it's like he mixed Marvel and Star Wars together, and
that was great.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna get. Kevin Feige and Patton Oswalt are working on the next Star Wars movie.
I hope Patton Oswalt is too busy with the new MST3K season, so
perhaps we'll see.
Well, he's supposed to.
So, what do we think about Kevin Feige making a Star Wars movie?
I don't know. Like, just because he was successful with the Marvel universe doesn't necessarily mean he'll be successful with Star Wars.
And he was successful with the Marvel universe because he basically oversaw the whole arc. And, it takes doing something like that is kind of the same as what I do with software development is you need an overarching architectural view of what's going to happen to make all the pieces work together, pulling in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
If he's going to do this with Star Wars, he's going to be very, very busy. And I don't know if he has time, if he's still going to, work on Marvel or if, whatever. It's a lot of work.
True.
And he would have to be involved with the other pieces, rather than just have a new director or producer shepherd for each movie like they've been doing before.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because the thing you think about too is he created wow, I can't talk. He created a successful Marvel universe, but it hadn't been done before, and it wasn't being based on anything that was already existing. Where, like, as we said, the Star Wars movies exist, and they're all out there. Like, he can't just now go and create something completely different. He can't reboot Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to work.
You can reboot Star Wars. You just got to tell a different story.
No.
There are other stories in the Star Wars universe. Take General Thrawn. I mean, you know, there's so many interesting characters that you could. Who's
General Thrawn?
He's from the Heir to the Empire, Timothy Zahn books.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one cares about those.
Oh yes, they did. Should have seen the line.
No. I'm telling you right now. JD, thank you. Hit the nail on the head when he said the average movie-going audience only cares about those original movies and the three, main characters running around saving the galaxy.
Right, but that's just the thing. If they brought in some really good writers or one good writer, they could make them care about a whole new set of characters.
And besides, aren't all that extended universe isn't canon anymore?
I disagree with this whole thing that they're not good writers. Like, I mean, you can not like a direction or not like something, but it's not they're not good. Like, that's not accurate. Like, you don't get to write Star Wars if you're not a good writer.
Yeah. Not telling what's his face about the plan.
We're gonna do this again. He didn't have to know.
He didn't. This is true.
Why would he have to know? He was wrong. Like, he didn't have to know. He commits mutiny and he should have been killed. If there's a complaint on that movie in my mind, it's that they didn't execute him for mutiny.
Yeah. They could have walked up to him and said, "Look, trust me, we've got a plan. Whatever. Just don't look coy and walk away every time."
She did. She literally did.
This is true. I mean, yes, it's frustrating when you look at it as from a certain point of view. But in all honesty, though, she did what she had to do. She's the leader. She didn't have to tell him anything.
Right, and I get that it's unsatisfying that to a viewer, because then the viewer is left in the dark. And I don't know if the Star Wars movies are the vehicle necessary to pull a move like that. I get what Rian Johnson wanted to do. I don't know if it worked because audiences are so divided on it. But From a pure logic standpoint, the only reason that Poe Dameron needs to know what the plan is because he's a point of view character.
Right. Exactly. Like, it's like you're a writer or something.
I try.
So, yeah. I think John got angry and left.
No.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's going to be able to do a good job. I don't know. I just don't know if this is a good fit. I don't.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. We'll have to see. I guess it also depends on what the project actually is and what it ties to, if it ties to anything. I don't know. I wonder
if the nature of Star Wars is going to change with the advent of Disney Plus and these shows.
That's possible.
That's an interesting thought. That is really, yeah.
Because if these work and people enjoy them, do we need more Star Wars movies? We have a lot.
I don't know. I mean, seriously, it feels that is a very big thought. Because it would, basically the course of our media, the type of our media is changing, right?
It's true. The way we consume is very different. And like you talked about, like, you're right. We didn't get the chance to have a big sprawling story with the Skywalker clan the way we would now. Now we would have, like, these Game of Thrones style 12 seasons, 10 episodes per season type of story. And it's a very different type of storytelling. We can do that now. With new characters.
Yeah. I guess we have to see how the Mandalorian does.
There's a lot weighing on that now that I think about it, as far as, like, just business-wise, as far as the entire functionality of that app goes. It's interesting.
Disney, don't let us down. You're our only hope.
This Star Wars thing is a very hard nut to crack at this point.
Oh, for sure.
At least it hasn't been killed dead like they did with Star Trek.
Star Trek's still alive and kicking. Discovery's on the CBS app that I refuse to buy.
Exactly.
I don't know if that's alive and kicking. And no, the problem with the new, especially the last Star Trek movie, is they tried to turn it into Star Wars.
True.
Yeah. No. Well, they tried to. It was Fast and Furious, is what it was.
Right. Well,
a little bit of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of trying to like fix things that were broken, James Gunn delivers message to Marvel and DC fans as the Suicide Squad assembles for photo. So, he took a photo of the whole cast and posted up on social media, and then he received a gift from Marvel, which was a memory book from their time together on Guardians of the Galaxy and the cast from that, and he posted that on social media as well. Is that Marvel's way of saying, hey, don't forget about us while you're working on Suicide Squad?
Don't forget about us, the guys that fired you and then brought you back after we had to apologize. And
we still love you, baby. Please don't be mad.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it, baby. I didn't mean it. You're still my number one.
Yes, here we are making light of domestic violence. God, we're jerks.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yes, you are. Very much so.
I told that joke.
We weren't really before, but now we are. Now we are because you said it.
My bad. Yeah, it's cool that they did that. I mean, like, I think it is a little bit of a, hey, man, we did good work together and we'll do good work again. Have fun playing in another sandbox for a bit.
Yeah.
A more colorful sandbox based on the art direction of the DC films.
Wait, what? No, it's not, huh?
Wait, no, Marvel.
Marvel isn't. Marvel's colors are all muted in most of their movies not directed by Taika Waititi. Like DC, like the color grading of the DC films is much more vibrant isn't the word I would use, but colorful is.
Well, the Suicide Squad was, but that's because they basically made it look like somebody threw up a bunch of paint cans.
You're not wrong. And it seems like Birds of Prey will follow that.
Ugh. Anyway.
It's not going to be that they're edgy. It's going to be that they're trying to be edgy.
Yeah, but it's James Gunn. So, I mean, like...
Yeah, no, that gives me some kind of hope.
It's fine. But they definitely have picked like a stylistic look for these films to make them stand out, which to me hasn't been the problem. It's been the content.
Very much so.
Well, it's nice that the original Suicide Squad was the intro was basically an homage in the most generous sense to the Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Oh, homage is a very nice term for it. I would have said ripoff.
Yeah, well, like I said, couching in very diplomatic terms, but now James Gunn gets to do it himself. So
this is true. He gets to rip himself off.
Nice.
Wait, he should do that in the privacy of his own bedroom.
But if he does it, he gets. Does he get 2 residual checks now?
Oh man.
Does he have to sue himself?
Yes.
And he gets the proceeds from both sides.
Yes, he is. He's currently in a lawsuit with himself.
That's happened. Who was it? It was John Fogerty. He got sued by Saul Zaentz, who owned the catalog to the Creedence Clearwater Revival play, whatever, the Creedence Clearwater Revival catalog. And John Fogerty did the old man down the road, and got sued for sounding too much like himself.
Oh, for crying out loud.
True story.
Well,
speaking of which, Tom Welling.
Wait,
true story.
That's a really bad segue.
I know. No, true story. He's actually showing up on Crisis.
Yeah, so we got a first look at Eric Durant and Tom Welling together on set for the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, and it is the old Kent Farm set, which was cool.
Did we mention that Birds of Prey is also going to show up on Crisis? Did we mention that last week?
No,
it was just yesterday or something like that.
Yeah, the actress who played the Huntress on Birds of Prey is coming back as Huntress.
I'm hoping they don't give her much to do other than just say, "Oh, hey, look, there's Huntress," and then.
Well, that's the thing. They've got so many now. Look, I love that they have so many people coming from all over, and they're. I mean, it feels like they're making this a family affair, but there's so many at this point that, yeah, some of them are literally going to be, oh, hi, I'm from such and such, remember me? And then walk off. You know, I mean, they might have something to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just,
And it's Ashley Scott.
Yeah, Ashley Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Kents look great. Like I said, this warms my heart way more than it should.
Oh yeah, no, it looks like an older Superman and Lois, doesn't it?
That's exactly what it looks like.
He looks good. Like,
I'm sorry.
Great.
Well, yeah, I mean, he I guess he got into shape when he was on Lucifer, because he played Kane on Lucifer.
Was he ever like fat though? It wasn't like Tom. I don't know if Tom Welling ever like let himself go.
No.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like, a lot of times that does
true.
happen. Especially like being on Smallville for 10 years and he had to like stay in shape. You know, sometimes afterwards it's like, oh, give me all the chocolate cake. I want it.
Right. But he was looking good on Lucifer, so he didn't have much to go. But I'm sorry, he's still, besides Christopher Reeve, he looks like Superman, like a picture.
He's my second favorite Superman.
He's got the really big square jaw and just the barrel chest. He just
broad shoulders, tall. Yeah. And she's my favorite Lois Lane. So like, this makes me, like I said, I have much fonder memories of this show than I really should, but just seeing those two back really, I don't know, makes me happy. I'm very excited to see this, and I haven't watched these shows in forever, but I'm on this one.
So speaking of looking like Superman, Brandon Routh was picked because of how much they said he looked like Christopher Reeve.
Yes. And he had Christopher Reeve's blessing before he passed away.
Yes.
Dave's much better at the transition.
So we did get to see what he looks like in his costume, Superman costume for the crossover. And of course, he looks very much like the Kingdom Come Superman.
I wouldn't even say he looks very much like. I would say he is the Kingdom Come Superman.
Yeah, he does look.
Like, that's him.
And I just glanced at the comics before this, and he does. It does look like him.
I mean, that's a really good look.
He's great. Like, this picture is incredible. Like, it's amazing how, like, his face just looks so much more solemn than it usually does when he plays Ray Palmer. Like, this picture, it impresses me so much with his acting chops.
Yeah, the look in his eyes is kind of sad, That's exactly...
Yeah, that's
exactly what Kingdom Come would look at me.
That's definitely what gets me. I agree with John. It's the sadness in his eyes in this picture.
Yeah.
Like, he's just seen too much.
Yeah, like, you can see it on him. Like, just in this one shot, it says so much if you know what to look for. But this is it. Like, that's the Kingdom Come Superman. Like, I can't believe I'm looking at it right now, and I still can't believe I'm looking at it.
Right. I can't believe it's not butter. But yes.
That stuff can kill you, man. It's all chemicals.
that is cancer. It's
oil.
Yeah.
Sorry. I took an opening. Which actually, though, I mean, he looks great, which led me to a thought. Like, so what is Tom, like, you saw the picture of Tom Welling and Eric Durance, but they're just, in like the farm clothing. Is he going to wear the suit? And if so, are they making him a suit for the show?
It would be a shame if he didn't wear it because of the fuckery that they had to deal with when they ended Smallville. And it was Brandon Routh's Superman, I think, that was coming out, which is why he couldn't wear it.
Brandon,
wasn't it?
That Superman had already been out.
What? It was during. It was in the middle. The Superman Returns right? It comes out.
Yeah.
It came out in 06. Smallville started in 01 and ended in 11.
So
there was a reason why he couldn't show it, though.
Okay, so
I forget why.
All right. I read a lot of stuff about the show when it was on because I was a big fan, and there were a few things. And again, I don't know how true all of this is. So take some of it with a grain of salt. The first thing was, the original rumors were the show was supposed to last 5 seasons and then go into movies. But Tom Welling did not want to get typecast as Superman.
So he played him for 9 years?
Exactly. That's why it's like, that's why it's like, it's kind of hard to believe. It's like, well, then why did you play Clark Kent for 9 years? you know, and like you want to get typecast as Clark Kent, not Superman. Like, how does that work?
Well, I thought a lot of it too was Goff and Miller didn't want to do a Superman show; they wanted to do a Clark Kent show, and he just kept getting older.
Right. So, and then apparently, like that's why they changed gears and did Superman Returns, instead of launching a movie thing. The other thing was that they wanted to have him in the costume at the end, but apparently there was an issue because of the movies. Like, it's one of those weird contract things where it's like, oh, we don't want to show him in the movie. And the costume,
that was something like that. Yeah.
The costume in the show at the end was Brandon Routh's costume from Superman Returns, and it didn't fit Tom Welling. So, and they never made a costume for him. So, like, when he tears his shirt off at the end, he's just wearing a blue shirt with the emblem, like, glued onto it.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And the rest was CGI.
And who's that company that, when you go to all the cons, they have autographs from all the people you can buy them?
I don't know. I don't deal with them.
I can't think of the name of the company. Like, they've been at a lot of the conventions, and it's like, it's not where you're buying an autograph for the celebrity who's there. It's like, they already have these autographs that they've collected of different photos, and they're authenticated, and you buy them from them, you know? And they had one of Brandon Routh signing, and the guy who ran the thing told me a story about when he met Brandon Routh, he had talked about how it was supposed to be Tom Welling, and he apparently thanked Tom Welling for not wanting to do the movies because then he was able to play Superman. It was like a really weird story.
It's incredibly convoluted.
Yes, exactly. I gotta say, the whole thing's convoluted. I don't know how much of it's true. I kind of felt like there might have been some truth about wanting to use a show to springboard a movie, but I don't know how much of that is actually true. And it's just weird because it was like, that was the unwritten rule of the show, right? It was no capes, no flights.
No tights, no flights, I believe was the way.
No tights, no flights, no capes.
Yeah,
right.
But they broke the flight thing, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't do that till near the end of the show, too. And
like, he was the Flash, like, the last, 5 years of the show.
Yeah.
Which got old quick.
Very.
So we'll see.
He was the Blur. That's right.
The Blur, yes. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what costume, how are they going to design a costume for what's it going to look like? Is it going to look like the Superman Returns costume? Is it going to look like the kid they have playing Superman on the Supergirl's costume? Is it going to look like that? Are they going to
assuming he gets a costume at all? We don't even know that.
Right. Are they going to make it look like the Henry Cavill costume?
They might not have him in the costume to stay a little more true to the Smallville thing. Like, they might have this be a retired Superman. It's possible. I have no idea. I'm spitballing. But if they do a costume, I'd like to see it look like Christopher Reeves. I'm just throwing that out there.
Oh, that would be the ultimate tribute, I think. You know? Because they borrowed so much from that movie canon for the show.
Yeah. He was the best Superman.
Dude, he jumps off. The closing shot, he's running off the Daily Planet building, and they're playing the John Williams theme.
Yep. Yeah.
God, I gotta watch that before I go to bed tonight. So good.
Well, the promos all had parts of the John Williams theme behind them, and it still gives you shivers.
So iconic. Like, I don't think there's been a better, we're way off the reservation, superhero theme ever written. I really don't.
Yeah.
No. John Williams is the only one that could can get a job of, give me music for the show and make the music tell the story.
Yeah.
Make the music be the main character.
He's the best. And still is.
Yeah.
Except for Hans Zimmer, he's pretty good too. Ducking!
Son of a bitch, you beast.
We haven't had a Hans Zimmer mention in a while on the show.
No, I know. I saw the opening.
I have to reset my counter now. Thanks. It's been 3 months since you've mentioned Hans Zimmer. Damn it. Back to 1.
All right.
So we should, when this Crisis on Infinite Earths is done, we should dedicate an entire show to it.
Oh, we have to at this point.
Yeah, because we spent so much time talking about it. Like, yeah.
All right. So,
while we're on that subject, do we want to mention what happened with Ruby Rose?
Oh, that's right. You said you had your little story. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, no, Ruby Rose had surgery. She was injured after a stunt that left her almost paralyzed. I guess she had like 2 herniated discs. She couldn't feel her arms, and she's, she went through surgery. She taped it apparently and put it up. And you can watch it if you want. Yay.
So, what's interesting about that, like, that's really going to suck because it's a physical role, and obviously that's going to limit her mobility, but also the show's just starting. Are they going to have to hold up production for a while?
It's entirely possible. If you said she had herniated, like, in her arms, that means the discs were herniated in her neck. Because I've got a herniation in C5, C6, and I lost my sophomore year of wrestling in college to healing, and they wanted to fuse the neck. This is back in 2000. They wanted to fuse my neck together, and luckily our trainers didn't have me go through that. But if she, like you said, surgery, so she's going through some type of a spinal fusion surgery. Yeah, and the recovery time, that's like a year.
Yeah, here it is. Rose said she herniated 2 discs while performing stunts a couple of months ago. The injury came close to severing her spinal cord, leaving her in chronic pain and unable to feel her arms. This is not the first time Rose has undergone serious surgery. Last January, Rose revealed that she was wheelchair-bound after going through back procedure for her spinal issues, according to People. So that's the magazine, not just like random people. So she's had some problems, which, it kind of makes you wonder what she's going to do for some of the stunts.
It makes you
but
feel...
it depends on how well the surgery went, I guess.
It just makes you feel like you're going to end up with... There's going to be either a big, huge break in the show, it's going to end early the season or something, or there'll be like those mysterious episodes where she's just kind of sitting in a chair. Whenever you see her, she's leaning against the wall.
The kind of things they do when somebody's pregnant or something.
Right, and then any action that you see, she'll be in the costume because it'll be the stunt double.
Yeah, but she did video it and put it up. So
okay, well I don't need to watch someone get hurt.
video of the neck surgery, so it should be fun.
Oh, I don't want to watch. No, thank you. No surgery videos.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just like, it's gonna be. It sucks, right? Because, I mean, isn't Batwoman supposed to fill our Arrow hole once Arrow goes off the air?
Pretty much. I mean, that's, one of the reasons why Arrow is ending, besides Steve Amell not wanting to play the character anymore. But
I don't know how they're going to do this, man. I don't know if they know how they're going to do this.
Maybe Stephen Amell will play Batwoman.
I doubt it.
Really? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb on this one and say Stephen Amell will not play the Batwoman.
All right. You sure you want to bet on that?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with this one.
Okay. We'll see what happens. All right. And this last little story I want to bring up, it's a rumor. And I wanted to I'm bringing it up to illustrate something we're going to talk about a little bit. And of course, the rumor is that the cameo that was approved for the Spider-Man appearance is going to be Avengers 5, where they're going to do Secret Wars. And this came from a Redditor and was picked up by a couple news sites. What do you think about that?
I think it's irresponsible for websites to pick up rumors that stem from Reddit.
Okay.
I agree with that. It's Reddit. I mean, it's Reddit. Yeah, I don't know.
I have no issue with Reddit. I have, like, when they say that that's their source, that's when I have an issue.
I have an issue with unsourced journalism.
Yes. And it doesn't make sense. Like, yes, they've talked about Secret Wars here and there, blah, 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 but if you're not doing the symbiote storyline, the black costume, and launching it that way through Secret Wars, like, you don't need Spider-Man to tell that story.
We already have a Venom. What do we need it for?
Right. Like,
hey, Dave, what was that rumor that we wanted to spread? I'll just go here on Reddit right now and put that in.
But,
dude, that'd be a great social experiment, actually. throw something on Reddit, claim to be your like a copy boy or something like that, or like a script runner, and you saw some of these pages, and see how long it takes to get that rumor flying.
There's no way that hasn't already happened.
Well, it's funny. I took this. That happened in a pro wrestling blog. This is pro wrestling like dirt sheet analyst guy who likes to say that he's got all these contacts, and a guy from a podcast started feeding him bullshit, and then he put it out there as fact, and then he did a whole podcast where he called him out on it and was like showing you, I sent this email here, I sent this email there, to try to expose the guy as a fraud.
Yeah. So that kind of brings up a friend of the show, Steve Ekstrom, had posted on his Facebook page about anyone who shares anything from a particular website who will remain nameless at this point. He, what did he say?
I don't know. I haven't read.
Basically, he went on a rant about how, it's ridiculous because the site is just clickbait, posting rumors and whatnot. And it's, yeah, like we've now gotten to a point with saturation on this stuff where, so hold on. Disclaimer before I say anything more. We're not a news podcast. We talk about the news, and we try to make sure, for the most part, we've had a couple stories that we've brought up, but for the most part, we make sure the stories are actually covered by legitimate news sources before we talk about them.
Except for the rumors we're trying to spread.
But again, we're not claiming to be breaking news or anything like that. We're just three nerds talking about nerd news.
Or an opinion show.
We're an opinion show. Thank you. That's the term I was looking for. So before anyone says, "Oh, you spread this rumor," it's like, no, we didn't, because we don't. We're an opinion show. And
Those are the ones that we want to spread.
Yes.
Oh God, we're Fox and Friends.
Oh God, no.
Yes.
Oh. No.
So anyway,
I'm not Steve Ducey. I'm sorry.
Damn it, that makes him me.
No, you're whatever nondescript blonde they have this
that.
week.
I'll take that. Okay, I'm better with that. At least I'm cute.
Token blonde.
Yeah, you're the token blonde. Anyway, we've reached a saturation point where people put stuff on Reddit. People go on these websites. They take something that's happening in the news. Like, perfect example is the war between Sony and Marvel over Spider-Man, and they start writing stories where they think people are going to want to read it, with no proof of what they're talking about. But it's to get people to click on the article and read it so that they will see the ads on their website and make money off of it. Clickbait. Yes, the term clickbait. And, like, it's ridiculous. Like, what's your opinion, JD? Like, how do we fight this? How do we stop the ignorance?
But you can't. It's money driven.
He's right. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to understand what things are and what fake news really is. Like, major news sites will get things wrong from time to time because things change and because sometimes they don't do the best job vetting their sources. But there's a difference between a news organization that has like generations of accrued authority and interest behind it, and some dude with a Twitter feed. Yeah. Like, and it's in nerd news, it's one thing and it's silly, but this happens in the real world too, and it can be dangerous and scary. So, and this is why, like, we'll talk about like rumors and stuff, and I poo-poo on certain websites because they're crap, but I mean, like, I feel like I'm obligated to say this is crap, and I think that we as, I don't want to say gatekeepers, but I mean, like, I think shows like us and people like us have a responsibility to be like, man, this is bullshit. And I think that the day we stop calling out the bullshit is when it gets scary.
Yeah. I'll never forget a couple months before Endgame came out. A coworker of mine showed me this video on YouTube, and it was a guy who was like saying someone on Reddit claimed that they worked on the production and had revealed all these things that were going to happen in the movie.
But you're still alive at the end of the video? Come on, we know that doesn't happen. This is Marvel.
Well, here's what it was. It was somebody who had worked on, it was like one of the effects crews or something like that, or not effects. They were like a second crew or something for filming, and they worked early on the production, and they did say like some of this stuff could change, but blah blah. So people picked up on it, and this guy in this YouTube video is like, it's like, oh, this is all going to be true, and he would link different things that were said here and there to say, oh yeah, see, this is true, this is true, this is true. Well, about 80% of it was complete and total bullshit,
Yep.
And
not surprised.
In fact, this guy said that Captain America was the one who dies in it, and something about there was something about Captain Marvel like wasn't even in the movie or something, like all this crazy stuff, and it was just like, okay, so, but yet, like, that's the thing. My coworker watched this video and he was like, oh, but he's saying this and this and this, and here's his links on what that proves these are true. And I'm like, no, that doesn't even sound right. It doesn't even sound like a movie anyone would want to see who's watched all these movies, Yeah. And that's the whole thing, is that normies fall for this stuff.
I don't know if it's the normies that fall for this stuff. I think it's the people that are kind of like us, that do play a little too much on Twitter and Facebook and do like to read these type of things, and they're the ones that tend to fall for it because they don't understand vetted sources. Like I said, we saw this on a much larger, much scarier level a couple years ago. It's just people got to understand what a source is and what real news is compared to bullshit. So like I said, it's on guys like us to say, hey man, this is not real.
Which is stuff like a perfect example. Tom Welling's going to be in the Crisis crossover. We were really skeptical of that.
Oh, I crapped
right
on
up
that.
to the point where
I crapped on it every week, and until a real source said it, and I'll be happy. I'm happy to be wrong about it. Ecstatic. Like, I'll eat crow. I would much rather eat crow about doubting something from a bullshit source than like have to look like an idiot for going to war over something that wasn't real.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true. Of course, though, also I will say there's been rumors about Tom Welling joining the Arrowverse basically since, I think, Arrow season 1. And, it's never happened until now. So.
Broken clock and all that stuff.
Of course, I always wonder if it's, falls along the lines of self-fulfilling prophecy, where it was rumored so much for so long, he finally was just like, all right, you know what? I'll just do it. Let's get it over with.
Well, from what Michael Rosenbaum said, the pay ain't that great, so he's just doing it for shits and giggles at this point.
Well, the pay was probably going to be scaled. They wouldn't even tell him what the pay was. And I can understand that. The Rosenbaum thing, I'm kind of on the fence because on the one hand, I get where he's coming from, but on the other hand, this isn't a normal gig. This is literally, if you love your fans, you're willing to give a little maybe and do this. But, I get what he said, but I'm kind of torn on his reaction to it.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment that this is something that is fan service. It's not.
And just to let you know, Rosenbaum was Lex Luthor on Smallville, just to make sure we understand.
Anyone who listens to this podcast knows that, I would think.
Yeah. We preach to the converted.
Yes. So that's the whole thing. It's like, it's definitely a fan service thing, and if you loved the show and loved your fans, you would come back and just do it, I mean, the guy did leave the show before it was over.
True.
Yeah.
So, and he didn't.
It wasn't as invested in his fans as the rest of them, I guess. I don't know.
No, I heard it was all smoke and mirrors, and he's actually secretly going to be on it. I'm kidding.
Yeah, did you read that on Reddit too? Okay.
No, sure. I read that on We Got This. Oh, I wasn't going to say that name. So I guess the lesson here is just be careful of what you listen to online, and be careful what you listen online, and make sure you follow vetted sources. Right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is all, if it comes from Newsweek or, Entertainment Weekly, and a lot of, the trusted websites, fine, but, that's, oh my God.
Keep going.
Oh my God. We can't reveal this. This is not, no. Oh my God. This is where it falls apart. All right. On that note, boys and girls, I think, the message is just be careful what you listen to online. And on that note, we're going to put a pin in it. So, as always, thanks for listening, and don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week. Oh my God.